Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to demonstrate an Excel program available on my website here, and that's going to allow us within AutoCAD to automatically draw either a 2D bolt or a 3D bolt, which ultimately we'll be able to use the 3D bolt to send to a 3D printing company, and I've already done this just to test my thread profiles, and we can have these bolts printed off. So what do we need first? Right, it's an Excel file, so if we open this up we will have to enable the macros, and once that's done it will give us a small ribbon here where we can show the form, and this is the main interface for you to draw your bolts. Right, the program, it comes with a help file, okay, and before you first use it I would suggest looking at the CAD variables, especially if you're familiar with these two variables within AutoCAD. You can check what your settings are before you use this program, and the value that you enter in here is the value that will be restored to AutoCAD. I have to alter these values to enable the script file to work correctly. The next button is a thread profile, and as we can see this is for a metric thread, because we're set at 60 degrees. We can alter the parameters not on this form but on this form, on the main form we can actually alter the parameters of the bolts. By default all these text boxes here are grey, so that means you're not allowed to alter them basically. First we need to unlock them, which will give us a message box, and then it turns them green, which basically means they can now be edited. We may, for example, need a different nut thickness, and so here we can change it. We can also change the thread pitch, which may be handy for smaller diameter bolts if they're going to be 3D printed. To stop them binding up, you may decide to increase the thread and have a custom thread. The only thing you won't be able to do is alter the thread angle. So I'm going to leave all the settings there by default, so I'm going to lock that back up, and I've got 2D bolts selected. I have a list box on the side here which gives me all of my sizes. We do have 4 options which I won't go into in this video, but it does enable us to actually create new bolts, and the bolts will be created based on the values that you've entered in these property boxes for the bolts. So basically what we'll do, we draw a bolt. We have 2 options: transfer to clipboard or create a script file. A script file could be handy, maybe not for the 2D drawing options but for the 3D drawing options. If you don't have AutoCAD, then you could create a script file and then send that to somebody that does have AutoCAD, and that will then enable them to transfer that to a 3D printer for you. So for now we're just going to go transfer to clipboard. It tells us we're successful. We then go open up a new drawing in AutoCAD, and all we do down in the command line, we right click and we go paste. and then we watch the bolt draw itself. You could of course use your shortcut in the command line, Control and V for paste, and as we can see it's drawn the bolt. I've grouped all of the polylines etc. together. You can then do what you want with it, either explode it, create a block, whatever your needs are. The distance that we have between our bolt face and our washer, that was determined by the program and these three boxes below, one for the length of the bolt, one for the thread length, and then the material thickness shown up here, and that's where that sets the nut on the washer. Providing we actually select that, we can just draw the bolt or the thread etc. Okay, so we'll have a look at the 3D bolt. Of course, especially with the 3D version, we can select no thread, which will just set the thread length to 0, because obviously drawing a thread in AutoCAD will use up a lot of memory, and if you only need it for representation purposes, then it's probably better to draw it without a thread. So we'll look at when we go to draw bolt this time, because we've selected the 3D bolt, we've got the 3D drawing options, and again we're transferred clipboard, tells us we're successful, and we'll start another drawing in AutoCAD, and I'll right click and paste, and depending on how fast your system is, will depend on how long this takes to draw. This is the slower method of the two. So what I'll do here, I'll just create another drawing, and this time we'll go back to the bolt program, and this time we'll create a script file. So it opens up our save as dialog box, so we'll just give it a name, 3D bolt. I'll save that. Tells me that I'm successful, so exit that, go to our blank drawing, find the folder location with the script file, and then all you need to do is drag the script file into the AutoCAD window, and you should find this will draw it 10 times quicker. There we go. Now we can do some checks. Let's have a look at the let's go to X-ray mode, and we'll look at the front view. Now, as I know that this washer's 3mm thick, the thread pitch is 2, so what I'm going to need to do, I think, is just move this over 1mm, and that should then line the threads up. So if I zoom in here for us, and as we can see, there we go, we have one thread and then the thread inside the nut, and as we can see there is a clearance between the two, especially at the root, so the thread should work. It does with a 16mm bolt, because I've had that printed out, which we could see from here, and it works very nicely. I don't know much about 3D printers, but chances are if you try to do it on a small bolt, chances are these threads could well bind up. Okay, so while we're doing the video, right, save as new. Again, if we've unlocked it and we've changed various parameters, we may change the nut thickness from 13mm to say 9. Okay, and then we'll go save as new. It asks us for a name, so we'll just call it 16mm new, and there it is, it's created there and shows us our nut thickness is 9. Click off, there you are, that's the original, which is at 13. And none of these changes obviously are set in stone. Once the new entry has been put into the list box, then yes, that means it's in the hidden table within the program, but until you physically close the form down and save the Excel file, then your changes will not be permanent. Again, if you wanted to permanently change a bolt, then you would use something like update and save, where all that will do is update all of the new values that you've put in. Obviously we can delete a bolt as well, or if we've entered the wrong name in this list box, we can rename the bolt. And that's pretty much it. So the best thing to do really is pop along to my website here. On the downloads section we do have the AutoCAD 2D bolt, 3D bolt page, but the thing to do is use the contact form at the top of my page. Just put your name, email, and request the program that you're after, because you can actually request this program for 7 days, just to give it a try to make sure it suits your needs. Okay, right, thank you very much for watching.